Hi, everybody. Welcome to the OnStage Blog Theater podcast. And we're really excited to be here talking theater once again. And I'm theater critic Rachel Wagner, and Chris Peterson is here.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
Doing phenomenally. Glad to be chatting with you.
Yes. Happy March. We're so glad to be here. And it's been, we've had a couple fun episodes in a row. We talked about movies, and then I was with Marin and Scott, where we talked about our favorite shows. But it's been a while since we had sort of one of these catch-up episodes, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So I hope you've had a good. Do you have a good February?
I did. It was, it's interesting when you have an extra day in February, like all
Mm-hmm.
the possibilities of things you can get done now. But no, it was great. It was, I live in Georgia now, so I don't feel the effects of northern February winter
Yeah.
months anymore. So I'm in a little bit better spirits than I typically am during this time of year.
Yeah. Well, that's I sometimes I'm like, why do I live in Utah? Why? Especially this last weekend, I was supposed to drive up to Perry, Utah, which is about an hour from where I was at, and I was supposed to review a My Fair Lady, and it was just like sheets of snow. I'm like, it's not going to happen. So I ended up reviewing it on Monday instead of Saturday, but and it was fabulous, absolutely great. But I'm just like, why don't I live here? What's going on?
I love it.
Yeah. But have you been able to see anything in the last couple months?
Nothing live necessarily, but I've been watching a lot of movie musicals lately.
Hmm.
And literally tonight, I won't lie, like I was sat down and started watching Wonka for the first time. I
Oh.
did not catch it in the theaters, and it's now available on video on demand. And so we started watching it tonight, and there's it's like it's fine. It's not. There's nothing to write home about necessarily. It's not like
Hmm.
I'm hoping that they turn it into a stage adaptation, but it's fun. It's cute.
Hmm.
Definitely more songs though than the original. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie. It's like there's like the first one. With Gene Wilder, it's like yes, it's a musical, but they don't hit it over the head that like it's a musical. This movie, like for 3 seconds in it's a musical.
Which is
So
really frustrating because they didn't sell it as a musical at all. And in
it,
fact, they didn't even submit a single song for the best song category at the Oscars. They didn't even
I
submit
didn't
them.
know that.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, which is
That's
shocking.
shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just become this thing. We could do a whole episode on how they are selling movie musicals as non-musicals. I mean, Mean Girls, it was ridiculous. You would have
Yep.
no idea. And it's working. That's the sad part, is that it's working. That movie did way better than I thought it was going to do with the box office, because the marketing seemed so atrocious to me. It made it look
Mm.
so generic. And so I was really surprised that I was really surprised that it did as well as it did.
Yeah. Yeah. And
The
same thing
Mean
with Color
Girls.
Purple. It's like, yeah, you're just trying to
Yeah.
it just makes me nervous for the future of what we're gonna see with just more of these adaptations that are gonna be made and how you
Yeah.
walk this tightrope of how you market it. So
Because they claim that
yeah.
musicals don't test well, and it's like, okay, but why make them at all then? And it's like, once you've made it, like, I don't know, it's very weird. I mean, even in the Super Bowl spot for Wicked, like they did not have a single character singing for Wicked,
For
which
Wicked.
was crazy.
Yeah, we've only been waiting 20 years for this
Yeah.
movie, so yeah, exactly.
But I've seen a number of shows, a couple of shows for the first time, which was really fun. I saw American Idiot for the first time.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and I think that it has, it's kind of fun to see these catchy songs, but the story, I mean, there is no story practically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so they didn't do a great job with like stringing kind of the story out of these songs, but it was interesting to get to see it.
Did you
Um,
feel like American Idiot was dated now?
yeah, I can see that. It was at a very small black box.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah, but it just felt like, okay, there's just no real story stringing all these songs together. But
That
I
makes sense.
enjoyed seeing something new. One I did not enjoy at all, really, aside from the production values and the quality of the singing, was Bonnie and Clyde. Was not
Ooh.
for me. I really did not like the songs. It had way too many characters. I'm like, why are we spending all of this time on his sister-in-law Blanche? And the actress killed it. She was amazing in playing Blanche, but I'm just like, what? And the if you watch the movie with Warren Beatty, there's so many interesting things about Bonnie and Clyde's relationship, at least in the movie, where he was actually he wasn't actually very like turned on sexually, hardly at all. And
Mm.
and yet like in the movie, it takes a lot for them to get together. It is not like some like, and I just felt like the relationship in this Bonnie and Clyde was so shallow and cheesy. It just wasn't, I don't know, like they didn't do anything interesting with it. And the style of the songs was so messy. Like one song would be a gospel song, and then one song would be a country song, and then one song's a belt song, and then they're back to gospel again. And there was this preacher character that meant that like neither Bonnie or Clyde are religious. Only Blanche was religious. But why is this preacher character like it was just bad. It was bad.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad.
It was. And Pioneer Theater Company, incredible. Equity, they're great. But and it was an amazing staged production. The sets, everything was so good. But man, I really didn't like that show.
Probably needed to concentrate on other things other than the production value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one that I saw for the first time was 9 to 5. And
Oh,
for me, this was a big surprise. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. I think in some ways it improves on the movie.
it's fun. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
If it's done right, I mean, there's something that's very lively about seeing Dolly Parton songs
Yeah.
and all that fun stuff. But I saw the original Broadway production when
Mm-hmm.
it came out, and with Allison Janney and Stephanie
Megan
Block
Hilty,
and
right?
Megan Hilty. And I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Did I think it was groundbreaking? No, but it's one of those things that's just meant to entertain you, and you're supposed to have fun with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I loved
I
it.
thought it was really funny. I really enjoyed it. And then I saw How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And this show, I mean, I can see why it's not done very much because it is a undertaking. It's really long and it has a huge cast of mostly
Huge
men,
cast. Mm-hmm.
which makes it really hard. I didn't think the music was that catchy. I thought it was all pretty, mm.
Pretty
But it was fun.
standard. Yeah.
I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but nothing really like stood out.
It's a show that, whoever is playing Finch, like, if you don't have the right person playing Finch,
Mm,
the lead, the whole show goes,
yeah.
down the tubes. And I've seen college productions where it's like that happens. But then I saw, when Daniel Radcliffe played that role on Broadway, I saw that, and he carried that show on his shoulders. And the fact that
Mm.
he didn't get a Tony nomination for that is criminal to this day. But yeah, I can see it's one of those. It's a weird show like that.
It's just like if you compare it to like Bye Bye Birdie, which is right around the same time,
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
I think Bye Bye Birdie, it's got so many more catchy songs that are real,
Hmm.
like Put on a Happy Face and the telephone song and things
Half an
like
hour.
that.
Yeah.
And so, but I enjoyed it, and I'm glad to kind of check it off my list. But yeah. And then the last new one that I saw was I saw MJ the musical, the touring
Ooh. Okay.
company.
What'd you think?
I thought it was about as good as they could do it. I mean, if they're going to do that style of jukebox musical on Michael Jackson, I don't know how. It's not like you can dig super deep unless you want your musical to be super dark, and they're not going
Hmm.
to go there. So I think it was basically just an excuse to have like quality versions with some good dancing and good singing of his songs. You
Yeah,
know,
I will just simply say this: if people want to know my thoughts about the MJ musical, go to OnStage Blog and just look it up because I do a couple articles where
mm-hmm.
I share my feelings, and I'll just
Oh,
leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. There it is.
yeah. I would never watch it again. Like it's a one and done. But I thought for kind of what they had to work with, which is challenging, um, it was okay. So
Gotcha.
that is that's that's what's been going on with me. And we'd love to hear what all of you listening, what you have been watching in theater or in film. And today it's going to be fun because we are talking about what we think are some underrated shows. And everybody has their own sort of definitions of what underrated and overrated mean. For you, what do you qualify as being underrated?
Ooh, I think ones that aren't usually mentioned in the annals of musical theater canon, so to speak, so that aren't mentioned alongside the iconic Phantoms, Les Mises, Cats of the world, Hamiltons. I think ones that are certainly should have won more awards than they did. And also, I think ones that have found second lives in the college community theater regional scene that seem to be now become some of the more popular pieces that you see done by those groups. Those are pretty much my big criteria for what I consider underrated. How about you?
Same. I look at the run. Did it have not a very long run on Broadway? And was it not very critically lauded? Not a lot of Tonys, things like that. Is kind of how I think of it. And I do have some repeats from my top five. We did the top five favorite with Scott and Marin. I guess some of my favorites are underrated, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get into
Yeah.
this. I had a lot of fun making this list. So
Yeah. So let's just dive in and let's hear your first. We're doing a top 10. So what's your number 10?
okay. So at number 10, I have the this is gonna sound weird. Chess. I have chess at number 10. Now people are gonna be like, wait, what are you talking about? Chess is everybody knows chess and things like that. No, chess, first of all, it doesn't have a lot of major Tony Awards. It's never had what I consider a successful Broadway run. And it is one of those musicals that is one of the most interesting listens I think anybody's ever going to have because the melodies are so weird and inconsistent, yet so memorable. And there's such powerful moments throughout, but it's such an interesting listen. And I feel like there's not another musical out there that truly is like Chess from a composition standpoint to a staging standpoint. So I love it. I love it. That's my number 10, Chess.
Have you ever gotten to see it
I've
live?
seen it twice. I won't. Neither production was very good. I won't lie.
Mm,
So holding out hope that I get to. And now everybody's talking about this, Broadway revivals and all that stuff. So here's hoping we get a good one. But um, yeah, like that's what I'm fingers crossed.
mm. Yeah, I'd love to see it one of these days. And because it does have some really good songs.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. All right,
yeah.
what's your number 10?
All right, my number 10 is one that got eviscerated by the critics in New York City because y'all are just meanies over there. But I enjoyed it. It's Head Over Heels. I really liked it. I thought it was creative. I thought it was funny. I thought it had bringing in the Go Go Girls songs in a pretty seamless way. Like it didn't feel too wedged in, and it was very gay positive and very and non-binary positive, and it's a little sometimes even I would say maybe even a little heavy-handed on those notes, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was delightful.
Excellent choice. And you, yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's a good time. I had so much fun seeing that show. Um, and you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned it because I didn't even think to put it on my list. But yeah, excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Yeah, and I'm jealous you got to see it.
Oh, it was so good. It was
Because
so much fun.
it was one of those ones open and close pretty quick, I think.
And I got very
Same.
lucky. And I did not. Me going in, I only knew like maybe two or three go-go songs. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that score was like a good. pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah,
Um,
me
but
too.
Peppermint, who plays, they were just absolutely incredible in the show, and yeah, no, it was awesome. It was
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, my number
What's your
9.
next one?
Here we go. It's a musical that I'd be surprised if a lot of people have heard of it. It's called The Life.
Oh.
And The Life is came out in the late 90s. I think it was like 97, 98. It won Lillias White her first or her only Tony. I think she's only won one Tony, but Lillias White won the Tony for Best Featured Actress for that. It's basically about, I won't lie, it's about the seedy part of town, about women of the night, and things like that. It can be a touchy subject to talk about, but it's got an incredible score by Cy Coleman and Ira Gassman, who just have done so many great musicals in the past. And it's one of those things that's like I always say this: if you're a regional theater that's looking for an interesting musical that can have some really amazing individual performances, if you cast it right, The Life is a great musical to choose. It's one of those musicals that got just caught, that I think would have gotten more accolades had it not been for like The Lion King and Ragtime and Titanic when
Hmm.
those things came out. It probably would have gotten some more noticing. But yeah, The Life. Go if you
Hmm.
haven't listened to it, please do. It's incredible.
Cool. Well, my next one, everybody knows who follows my theater criticism knows I'm not that high on Into the Woods. And I've seen it many, many, many times. And I've only gotten to see my next one once. And it was very creative and very fun from Sondheim. It's Assassins. And
Ooh.
I would love if just a couple of the companies that decide to do Into the Woods took a chance and did Assassins. I get it's not as like user friendly. You can't have the families and the kids and stuff that people can advertise for Into the Woods. I get it, but just throw me a bone every once in a while so to do Assassins because it's really creative. It's very subversive, but it has something to say. Especially, I feel like it would be so perfect for a couple companies to do Assassins this season when we have such a bleak. I'm sorry, a bleak election cycle ahead of us. I feel like this would be a good musical to do.
Good timing. I got to see it when it was revived on Broadway. One of the most interesting casts I've ever seen on stage. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris playing Lee Harvey Oswald. You had, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names. Dennis O'Hare was on in that cast. Mario Cantone was in that
Mm.
cast. He was not a singer, and yeah, just a interesting cast, top to bottom. But what a great production! And yeah, I love Assassins. Excellent choice. My next pick also starts with an A, so good segue here. But it's a musical called Allegiance, which came out
Mm.
almost 10 years ago, actually. And this was uh, brought. It's by Jake Q, who's a person I've met and lovely person. But it's all about the Japanese internment, and it famously starred an all-Asian cast led by Lea Salonga and George Takei and Telly Leung, and came out basically got ignored because a musical called Hamilton and a couple others
There's a pro
dominated the
shot of
headlines.
this though, right?
There's a pro shot, and if
Yeah.
people haven't seen the pro shot, please do. It didn't get nearly the attention it should have. But
I
George
need to
Takei
see
turns
that.
in an incredible performance, and yeah, it's a great pro shot. So, and the score is good. It's not. It's going to be a score that I think people are going to be like, oh, what? That's fine. You really got to listen to it, and the lyrics are really interesting. So, Allegiance, go if you haven't seen that pro shot,
Mm.
please do. It's incredible.
Cool. Good. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Next up for me, we talked about the most done shows, and we talked about Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I wish that a few theaters would take the chance instead of doing Joseph and do Starlight Express. I saw it for the first time in January. It was a high school production. They killed it. It was so entertaining. I like, it doesn't have much of a plot. It's really just meeting the characters, but I didn't care because it was so energetic and fun, and the songs were so engaging, and the turning the theater into a giant racetrack was so great. I was captivated by it, and I just wish that more people took the chance to do Starlight Express.
When you are the only show that is known for being that, like
Mm-hmm.
that's praiseworthy. Like,
Yeah.
there was, if you watch the Super Bowl halftime show, there was one point where Usher is roller skating across the stage, and Twitter just lit up saying, "It's the Starlight Express revival I didn't know I needed." So the fact that people automatically equate anytime they see roller skates to anything that they go with Starlight Express, that means something. So,
Mm-hmm.
excellent choice, excellent
Yeah.
choice. All
What
right,
do
for
you have
mine,
next?
this is an interesting pick because it's not your traditional narrative musical. It's really called a song cycle, and it's called Closer Than Ever, which is by Maltby and Shire. And it is there's no plot. It's like a series of vignettes. So if you're familiar with musicals like Song Show New World by Jason Robert Brown, it's very similar to that but longer. It's a long show. I'm not gonna lie. It's like 3 hours, but
Mm.
um, if you love Maltby and Shire as composers and writing team, it is one of the best song cycle pieces. You can go there.
What does that
Incredible
mean, song
audition
cycle? I
materials.
don't know that.
So basically, yeah, what I meant, it's basically a series of songs that are scenes within those songs. There's no connective tissue really from song to
Oh.
song necessarily.
Is it like a staged reading, or is it they act it out?
They acted out. It's a state, so it is actually an acted, performed show. It's not just people standing at a mic singing.
Mm-hmm.
Although I have seen it performed like that, so I don't want to say that's not how it's supposed to be. But um, it's 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 a perfect musical if you're a musical theater nerd and you love like that, like early '80s, mid '80s type of jazz musical theater. It's a textbook for that. So Closer
Mm-hmm.
Than Ever, highly recommend.
Cool. Well, my next one is the only straight play that's on my list. And, um, it is Wait Until Dark, and I love the movie with Audrey Hepburn. It's so good, which was based on the Broadway play. But I think that the Broadway play gets maybe kind of forgotten or lost because maybe people love the movie or they just don't want to do like a more of a scary, like a thriller. I've seen it twice, and both times it was so entertaining, and especially the ending just like totally gets you. And it's so fun to be part of an audience when everybody's surprised and everybody's invested. And it does a really good job of sort of building up the tension, and everything that happens is purposeful, intentional. That it seems like, oh, why did she put down that knife there? Why did she do that there? Because it's about a blind person and a blind woman who's getting stalked, kind of. And but then it came back there in that scene, and so you're kind of putting the clues a little bit together along with her, and it's so much fun to watch as a group. I highly recommend if you ever get a chance to see it.
Excellent choice. Excellent
Mhm.
choice. For me, the next show I picked was a show that my college did the year before I got there, and I was so sad I wasn't able to be part of it. It's a musical called Celebration by Harvey Schmidt and Tom Jones, the same team that did the Fantastics. Um, if you love the Fantastics, you will absolutely adore Celebration. It's a more mature composition. I think it's a deeper storyline. Still kind of plays with the fantastical elements of it, so to speak. But there's some incredible songs. If you want good audition material, Celebration has some incredible songs. Orphan in the Storm is one of the best songs that I never hear in auditions, but every time someone sings it, I go nuts because it's that good of a song. So, Celebration by Harvey Schmidt, who and Tom Jones, who we sadly just lost, but incredible piece.
Mhm. Cool. I've heard of that. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that one. It's good. My next one is a show that's hardly ever done. I've only seen it once, and it was years and years ago, but it really made an impression on me. It's the Spitfire Grill, another one that I
Yes.
think improves upon the movie, and has great songs. It's a good story. I don't know why it's not done more, because it's not like it's super hard. Like it doesn't have like complicated sets, or I don't know why it's not done more, but it's a really good show.
One of the best, hands down, community theater productions of any show I've ever seen was a production of the Spitfire Grill. And
Mm,
when it's just to your point, when it's cast right, flawless. The
yeah,
material's there. It's incredible.
yeah,
But great movie too, by the way. I
yeah.
love that you picked that. That's incredible. All right, I've got another one that was also a movie to stage adaptation. I'm going with The Bridges of Madison County.
Mm, I've never seen
Like,
it, but yeah,
oh,
some
Marsha
beautiful
Norman,
songs.
Jason Robert Brown. One of the best. How do I put this? I think it's from top to bottom throughout the entire show. It might be Jason Robert Brown's best score, and that's me putting that above Parade. It's me putting it above a lot of other stuff that he's done. It is. I love that score. It got ignored by the Tonys. It got ignored by the audiences and things like that. You could say that it definitely flopped on Broadway, but that recording is gorgeous. So yeah, Bridges of Madison County, love it, love it, love it.
Mm. Well, my next one is one that I've heard that it wasn't done very well on Broadway. It wasn't staged well. My friend
Hmm.
said that it was strange how they did it. So I think that might be why I think it's underappreciated. It's Catch Me If You Can. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I heard they did like weird projections, and it was just like it was directed strangely, because I really enjoy it. I think the songs are so catchy. If you get a Carl and Frank that have chemistry together, and it's interesting because they're not even together very much on stage, but still that chemistry matters somehow. And it gives so many. I just saw it recently. Musical Theater West, unbelievable company, and it gives so many great moments for great ensemble work, and uh I just really think I think the songs are super catchy. Really enjoy it.
I excellent choice as well. Excellent choice as well. All right, what number am I on? I've lost track because I love
I
this.
think
What am I?
we're on 4. I think
Okay,
not 4.
perfect. So my next one is a musical that I don't is never made it to Broadway, never made it to off Broadway. If anything, it's off Broadway. It's a musical called Calvin Berger. Now,
Mm.
this is came out in 2006. It's basically a high school take on Cyrano de Bergerac, and um, it's it's a fun score. It is perfect for high schools and colleges that are looking for some cool pieces. Highly recommend. I saw a reunion concert of this at can't remember if it was Joe's Pub or 54 Below, but with the original cast. But if anybody's a fan of um, uh, A Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, there's a character on there called Hot Josh or things like that. That actor is in the original cast of Calvin Berger,
Oh.
and so that's where I knew him from. Um, but yeah, great show. If you again, really cool piece, really great piece for high school and colleges. There you go.
Mm. Well, my next one is a bit of a cheat, because we know that practically every musical on Broadway is based on movie. And both of I have actually two for this one because they're very similar. It's Singing in the Rain and White Christmas. I think
Ooh,
both of these are absolutely excellent adaptations of these movies, iconic movies. I think White Christmas actually improves upon the movie. It takes out the minstrel number. It's just the songs that it adds, I think, are catchy and effective, and it keeps everything that we like. And it's just like I just think it just tightens it just a little bit. And it's of course you have to have good dancers, so that makes it kind of challenging for a company to put on. But I mean, there's those great Irving Berlin songs, and I just think it's a very quality adaptation of that movie. And I don't feel like you never really hear it get talked about or anything. But then the Singing in the Rain adaptation, I also think is a really good adaptation of that movie. Of course, it has your iconic rain dance scene, which is so fun. I never fail to be enchanted by it. This is actually really popular here in Utah, but I don't think it's as popular other places. But I've seen it many, many times, and all of the iconic numbers are all there. Plus, I think the new songs that they add are good because that's not always a guarantee. Like the adaptation of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is so weak. I think they take out a bunch of songs, and then the ones they added were lame. And so it doesn't always work, but in this case, I really do think that it's an enchanting musical experience to watch Singing in the Rain.
I
So
love it.
yeah.
Love it. Great choices. For my next pick, I'm going with another adaptation of a classic piece of literature. It's a musical called Lysistrata Jones, and
Oh, okay.
it's based obviously on the tale of Lysistrata, but it stars Patty Murin. So this is like long ago. I think this is like 2000. I can't remember if it's like 2010 ish. But it's again set. It's like the tale of Lysistrata set in high school. And the lead character is called Lizzie J. That's Patty Murin's character. But again, really fun musical. Also, again, one of the best audition songs for a female. It's called "Where Am I Now." Incredible song. So if you haven't listened to that musical, get on it because again, really great
Mm-hmm.
score there.
Well, next one for me did get some Tony love, but I just feel like overall it's kind of a little bit forgotten more than it should be. And it has had revivals and stuff, but still, I think it deserves more love. It is She Loves Me. I absolutely
Yes.
love and adore this show. I love all of the songs. I love the story. I mean, that perfumery story just works. It's a good story, whether it's Shop Around the Corner or You've Got Mail or She Loves Me or whatever. The idea of people falling in love over their words is romantic. It's a lovely concept. They hate each other in real life, but they write letters to each other and they're in love. It's a great idea for a story. And it's so well done for this She Loves Me. And the pro shot with Zachary Levi, Laura Benanti is absolutely wonderful. If you haven't watched it on Broadway HD, you absolutely should. It's so good, and it's a perfect show. I would change nothing
Oh, I love it.
for
I
me. I
love
think
it.
it's so good.
So I also went with a play for my next pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a play that I've actually directed twice because I
Oh,
love it so much. It's a musical. It's a play called Boeing, and it is your classic 1960s Rock Hudson, type of sex farcical comedies about a guy who's juggling three airline stewardesses as his girlfriend, and there's a storm one night and all three are in town at the same time, and so it becomes a like, oh my gosh, this one's in the kitchen, this one's in the bathroom, this one's in the thing, and there's mistaken identities and all that stuff. It's a fun romp, nothing, and also ahead of its time when it comes to not being terribly misogynistic and dated as some of these type of farcical comedies can be. But it's a lot of fun, great for community theaters. Like I said, I've directed it twice. So yeah, Boeing. If you haven't done it, saw it on Broadway with Mark Rylance in the lead role, which was really fun to see. So yeah.
cool. I've never heard of that one. That's fun. Well, my next one is it was off Broadway and I love it so much. It's also on Broadway HD. It's Daddy Longlegs.
Mm.
I will drive anywhere. I will see anyone who's putting it on. It's only a two-person show. But I think that Paul Gordon, who did the music and lyrics, he did such a good job of building up the romantic tension between these two people, and it takes the story from the novel and changes things around, moves things around a little bit to make it like more palatable And the in the novel, like, he is kind of older than her, and same thing in the Fred Astaire movie. But in this, they just make it, she thinks he's older, but he's not actually older. So they make some changes like that, which make it much more palatable and modern. But every time I've actually randomly seen this show with this same cast 3 times in because my old teacher Dave Smith, he was in it, and Kelly Coombs. They're so talented at Hale Theater Orem, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And then they did it for, they had a what's called, they did it called Hale at Home during the pandemic, because they obviously couldn't do that many shows, and here's a show with only 2 people, and so they could do it, and they broadcast it to people who purchased it, and that like got me through the pandemic, plus the Broadway HD Pro Shot. And then I saw them again, Kelly and Dave, again at Hale in Sandy, so the other Hale Theater. It's a local group here. And so after the pandemic, I saw it again. And then I've seen it a bunch of times since. And I'm so excited because they're putting it on here in Lehigh, which is about 10 minutes from my house, in May. And both of it's double cast, and both of them look incredible. And one of the double casts is a married couple in real life who are super talented. And I just cannot wait. It's such a romantic show. The songs are so good. I just absolutely love and adore it. And I just wish that it would get like a Broadway run. I don't understand why they won't, because I mean, it's got to be the cheapest show in the world to do. Literally 2 actors, and there's like one set.
One
maybe
set,
2.
yeah. That's it. Great choice, though. I love Megan McGinnis is one of my favorite
So
actresses, and breaks my heart every time I see that show. So love it.
And and in the pro shot, Adam Halpin plays the co-lead, and they're married in real life.
Love
and
it.
Megan
Love
McGinnis.
it.
So that's fun.
I've been crossing off as we go along. This is actually my last one, and so I think I've zipped through this quicker than I thought I would. But it's a musical called Hands on a Hard Body. Have you ever heard of this show?
I never heard of that.
Oh my gosh. So if it's written by Trey Anastasio, who's the lead singer of Fish. And so it is kind of this weird, like off rock type of musical that has a lot to do with, cars and like car culture and stuff like that. It's a incredibly interesting show that as you're listening to it, you're like, how did this make it to Broadway? Not only did how this make it to Broadway, how did this have what I would consider a pretty successful run? Incredible cast. Kiela Settle, who we all know from The Greatest Showman, things like that. She's in it, and does some incredible work in that piece. So, yeah, if you haven't taken out Hands on a Hard Body, definitely give it a listen. It's interesting.
Cool. I've never heard of that one. That's great. Well, my number 1 is maybe my favorite musical. It's creeping right up there to Les Mis. Les Mis has the nostalgia, but I absolutely love Bright Star. I love this show. I love the songs. I love the story. I love the message of hope and forgiveness and community, and it's just an absolutely beautiful story, and I never get tired of it. Every time I see it, I love it more and more and more, and I don't know, it's just so special. I love everything about it.
It's a great show, and what I love most about Bright Star, and I'm trying to remember a couple off the top of my head, but Daddy Longlegs too, is that how when if you're smiling from start to finish, like that, there's something there. And Steve Martin and Eberkel did such a great job. Again, another show that had it not been for Hamilton, what could have happened? What could have happened to the Tonys? Carmen Cusack. I mean, it would
only
have been
got
really
100 days, 100 showings. I'm like, how? It's such a good show. Oh, but it is sentimental and it is romantic, and it's the kind of thing, like, you can tell that I'm a Hallmark fan because I got Singing in the Rain, She Loves Me, Daddy Longlegs, Bright Star. But I think there is some like heft to Bright Star that I'm surprised it was kind of dismissed, is because like there's some tough stuff that happens. Like, it's not it's not like She Loves Me, which I get it. It's just kind of a light, fun rom-com. But Bright Star's got a little more going on, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great
And
picks.
I
Wow.
just love it so much. And luckily also Utah loves Bright Star. It's put on all the time.
I'm sure
So
Georgia
yay.
does too. So I'll have to look for it. I'll have to look for it. But wow, well, great choices up top
Yeah,
to bottom.
some fun
This
ones.
was a lot of fun. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Well, so let's go over our list real quick. So I have Head Over Heels, Assassins, Starlight Express, Wait Until Dark, Catch Me If You Can, The Spitfire Grill, Singing in the Rain, and White Christmas, She Loves Me, Daddy Longlegs, and Bright Star.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And of course, as we were doing this, I'm like, deleting my list
Oh
as
no,
I'm,
that's
taking
okay. We
off.
don't have to go over again
But
then.
needless to say, I will say this. What I love is that you and I picked variety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're in the mood for various different moods that you might be in, the
Yeah,
list that we just gave you is going to satisfy everything that you're looking for,
yeah.
honestly.
And I would just encourage companies to take a couple chances a season. I understand why you got to do Into the Woods. I get it. I understand why you got to do Music Man. I get it. But maybe take one chance and do something a little bit out of the box. And you might end up finding a new community favorite that like Bright Star for you here in Utah. People love it. So take a chance, do some of these underrated shows. I think that you'll really find some special gems here.
Excellent advice.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent advice.
So if people want to follow you and the blog, how do they do that?
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, go to onstageblog.com because that's where all of our content is. You can see more episodes of this podcast and everything else. So start there. But then if you want to go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok now, it's all OnStage Blog. One word, OnStage Blog. So we were able to corner the market, thankfully, on that word. So yeah, please give us a follow on there. It would be amazing.
Very good. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, on Rotten Tomatoes, and at rachelsreviewstheater.com. And at Utah Theater Bloggers. I've reviewed a bunch of the stuff that I talked about. I've reviewed over at UTBA. So check that out. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends. We would sure appreciate that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.